On February 11, 1985, ground control sent a routine signal to a space station orbiting 200 miles above Earth. It did not answer. It never answered again. No power, no attitude control, no way to even confirm it was still in one piece. 4 months later, 2 men were strapped into a capsule and launched toward it anyway, with no way to talk to it and no guarantee it would still be there to catch them. The station was called Salyut 7, the Soviet Union's 7th orbital outpost, and by 1985, one of the most capable spacecraft ever put into orbit. It had been flying unoccupied for months, left in automatic mode between crews, quietly maintaining its own systems while it waited for the next visitors. Welcome to Solar Hour, where we uncover the strangest, most dangerous, and most astonishing stories our solar system has to offer. Then, on that February morning, a fault in its power regulation system cut the station off from its own solar panels. With no one aboard to intervene, Salyut 7 batteries drained completely, and its systems shut down one after another. Without power, the station lost its ability to orient itself. It began a slow, uncontrolled tumble through orbit. Every radio call from the ground went unanswered. As far as mission control could tell, their 19-ton space station had simply gone silent. This had never happened before. No spacecraft of this size had ever gone fully dead in orbit, with a possible rescue even on the table. Engineers on the ground debated whether Salyut 7 could be saved at all, or whether it was simply a lost cause, tumbling toward an eventual, uncontrolled re-entry. But the station represented years of investment and irreplaceable hardware. Soviet space officials made an unprecedented decision: send a crew to reach it and attempt a repair no one had ever tried. The 2 men chosen were Vladimir Dzhanibkov, a veteran commander on his 5th space flight, and Viktor Savinik, an engineer trained specifically for the repair. The mission they were assigned had no real precedent. Every previous Soyuz docking in history had approached an active station, one broadcasting a beacon, ready to guide the approach automatically. Salyut 7 could do none of that. It had no power to transmit a signal, and no way to help guide anything toward it. Ground-based radar could only estimate the station's position and its slow, unpredictable tumble. The rest would be up to the crew, flying by eye. On June 6, 1985, Dzhanibkov and Savinik launched aboard Soyuz T-13, headed for a target that could not confirm it was even still intact. As they closed in, Dzhanibkov switched to manual control, using an optical rangefinder to judge the station's distance, speed, and tumble entirely by sight. There was no beacon to lock onto, no radio confirmation from the target. Every correction had to be made by hand in real time, closing the gap meter by meter. It remains the only time in spaceflight history a crew has manually docked with a completely unpowered, uncooperative spacecraft. The docking succeeded. Soyuz T-13 locked on a Salyut 7 forward port, and for the first time in 4 months, a human being touched the station again. But docking was only the beginning. Nobody on the ground or in the capsule knew what condition they would find inside. Before opening the hatch, the crew checked the internal atmosphere for dangerous gas buildup, a real risk after months with no ventilation running at all. When they finally opened it and floated inside, they entered a station that was completely dark and utterly silent. Without power for months, the interior temperature had plummeted far below freezing. Frost coated the walls, the equipment, even the station's internal surfaces, an ice-locked shell drifting silently in orbit. The cosmonauts worked in heavy winter clothing, their breath visible in the beam of their flashlights, inside a spacecraft never designed to be this cold. Every drop of water aboard the station, in its tanks and its plumbing, had frozen solid months earlier. They had entered not a broken machine, but something closer to a tomb, one they now had days, not weeks, to bring back from the dead. Their first priority was power. Without it, nothing else was even possible. They located a set of the station's batteries that had survived undamaged and wired them directly to the solar panels, bypassing the very charge control system that had failed in the first place. Then, using their own Soyuz capsule's thrusters, still docked to the station, they physically rotated all 19 tons of Salyut 7 to face the sun. It was a maneuver with no manual, no simulation, and no way to know for certain it would even work. Slowly, the batteries began to charge. And with them, for the first time in months, Salyut 7 began to wake up. Over the days that followed, the crew brought systems back online one at a time, lighting first, then communications, then the station's life support. As the interior slowly warmed, the frost that had coated every surface began to melt, and the station filled with drifting water. With no gravity to pull it down, that water had nowhere to go. It clung to walls, equipment, and cabling, threatening to short out the very systems they had just revived. The cosmonauts spent hours mopping the station by hand, using every towel and spare cloth aboard, wringing them out and starting again. It was unglamorous, exhausting work, entirely unlike the image most people have of spaceflight and utterly essential to saving the station. Within about 10 days, Salyut 7 had gone from a dead, frozen hulk to a functioning space station once again. Water systems came back online. Communications were fully restored. The station that had gone silent in February was, by summer, alive again. Ground control, which had spent months debating whether Salyut 7 was even worth attempting to save, now had a fully operational station back in their hands. Later that summer, a second crew joined Dzhanibkov and Savinik aboard the revived station, continuing its scientific program as though the crisis had never happened. Nothing about this mission had a template. Every space agency trains extensively for docking with a cooperative, powered target. Almost none had ever seriously trained for docking with one that offered no signal, no beacon, and no way to help at all. The manual docking Dzhanibkov performed remains, to this day, the only time it has ever been done under those exact conditions. The repair itself relied on skills no training manual had anticipated: field improvisation, hours of physical labor, and a willingness to solve problems no engineer on the ground had ever faced. Viktor Savinik would go on to spend a total of 168 days aboard the station he had helped bring back from the dead. Dzhanibkov returned to Earth after roughly 110 days in orbit, closing out his fifth and final spaceflight with the most unusual mission of his career. Salyut 7 itself went on to fly for several more years after the rescue, hosting additional crews before it was finally deorbited in 1991. Much of what its crews learned repairing a dead station in orbit fed directly into the design and operating procedures of Mir, the space station that replaced it. In an era defined by the space race's biggest headlines, this mission received comparatively little attention outside the Soviet Union at the time. There was no flag planted, no giant leap, no single quotable phrase. Just two engineers, a frozen station, and days of unglamorous, methodical work. But among engineers and space historians, it is still regarded as one of the most technically demanding missions ever flown. It proved something no simulation ever could, that a spacecraft, even one completely dead in orbit, was not necessarily beyond saving. Every modern space station, from Mir to the International Space Station, has been built with the lessons of Salyut 7 somewhere in its design history. Redundant power systems, manual docking backups, procedures for exactly the kind of total systems failure Salyut 7 suffered. None of it was theoretical anymore. It had already happened 200 miles up to a crew with no one else to call for help. Space agencies plan meticulously for failure. Backup systems, redundant power, careful checklists for almost every conceivable malfunction. But in February 1985, Salyut 7 failed in a way nobody had fully planned for, and the answer wasn't found in a manual. It was found by two men floating in the dark, improvising. It remains one of the clearest reminders in the history of spaceflight that no amount of engineering ever fully replaces human judgment, 300 miles from the nearest help. A station went completely silent, tumbling and frozen, with nobody certain it could ever fly again. Two men flew toward it anyway, docked with nothing to guide them, and brought it back to life with their own hands.